Ever feel like you could use a vacation from your vacation?
Totally.
We're diving into slow travel today.
Oh, I love this topic.
And honestly,
Yeah.
it might just change how you plan your next trip.
It really is a whole different way of thinking about travel. Instead of
Yeah.
rushing from one site to the next, imagine, just really settling into a place.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, like a charming little village in Tuscany for a whole week,
Oh, I like where this is going.
learning how to make pasta from scratch, from a real Italian nonna.
Okay, now you're just making me hungry.
That's the heart of slow travel right there.
See, that sounds amazing to me. But what makes this especially relevant for our listeners is how perfectly it fits our changing priorities as we get a little older, you know? We're diving into a blog by Roberta, who writes about her experiences traveling in her 70s.
I love Roberta's perspective. As we gain experience, our travel goals, they kind of shift a bit, don't you think?
Totally.
We want something different from our trips.
Mm-hmm.
We find ourselves craving a deeper connection to a place,
For sure.
less about checking off a list of sites,
Yeah.
and more about truly immersing ourselves in a new culture.
It's about quality over quantity,
100%.
which is exactly what Roberta talked about in her blog, Traveling in My 70s, Exploring the World with Wisdom and Wonder. She even documented her 85-day trip around the world.
Isn't that something?
85 days.
And what I find fascinating is that even with 85 days, Roberta mentions that trips still felt a little rushed at times.
Wow.
It just goes to show slow is a relative thing.
85 days and still feeling rushed. That's pretty telling, isn't it?
Right.
So it seems like a key takeaway here is that slow travel is all about finding the pace that feels right for you,
Exactly. It's about designing your trip around your own rhythm and your own interests.
not trying to squeeze in every last thing.
Exactly. It's your trip, your pace.
So it's less about cramming in the sights and more about really savoring each moment, wouldn't you say?
100%. It's about quality over quantity when it comes to experiences.
But I have to admit, I've heard people say that slow travel sounds a little,
What? Boring.
yeah, a little, like, where's the excitement?
Oh, I hear that. But honestly, that's where the real magic of slow travel comes in. Because it's anything but boring.
Okay, tell me more.
Roberta talks about how this style of travel lets you dive deeper into your own passions.
So instead of just observing a new place,
Right.
you're actively participating in the experience.
Exactly.
I like that. Give me an example. How does this deeper dive actually work?
Okay, imagine you're really into Japanese art and culture.
Okay.
Instead of just visiting that famous Fushimi Inari shrine in Kyoto, you spend a few days learning the art of calligraphy from a local artisan. Understanding the symbolism, the history behind every brushstroke.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. That's bringing your trip to life.
Right.
It's less about checking off landmarks, more about those meaningful encounters and experiences. Yeah.
Exactly. And those experiences, they often come when we slow down, when we really open ourselves up to our surroundings.
When we embrace the unexpected.
Exactly.
It's like you're not just reading a travel brochure, you're actually living the experience,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
Roberta has some great tips for planning a slow travel trip.
Oh, I love her tips.
Mm.
She really emphasizes research. And not just
Mhm.
picking a random spot on a map, but like
Mm.
really thinking about what you want to get out of the experience.
Oh, I like that.
Like ask yourself,
Yeah.
what parts of this culture do I really want to connect with?
Right.
What pace will let me fully experience this place?
So it's about knowing yourself and what you're looking for.
Exactly.
So if you're a total foodie with a passion for history, then Tuscany might be calling your name. Oh, for sure.
But if you're really craving some peace and quiet and want to dive deep into like Zen philosophy,
Mhm.
then Kyoto might be the perfect fit.
You're speaking my language.
Right.
Both those destinations are famous for slow travel, but for totally different reasons.
Right.
Tuscany's all about indulging those senses, connecting with the land, through the food, the wine, the art, the history. It's so vibrant.
I can already imagine myself just wandering through those vineyards, stopping for impromptu wine tastings, learning to cook from a real Italian chef.
I mean, come on, that's the dream.
The dream. And then you have Kyoto, where it's all about peace and tradition.
Mhm.
Imagine taking part in a real tea ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Those precise movements, the silence, just the gentle clinking of the teacups. It's about slowing down to really appreciate the artistry and mindfulness of everyday life there.
Okay, I'm adding both of those to my list. But What I love is that this whole idea of slow travel, it's not just about these far off destinations, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
You can embrace this mindset anywhere, even close to home.
Sometimes the best adventures are the ones right in our own backyard. Like try a new hiking trail every weekend, explore the local farmer's market, finally sign up for that pottery class you've been thinking about.
Yes. And there's something so grounding about connecting with your local communities, supporting local businesses. It's like a little reminder that you don't have to travel far to discover something new.
Exactly. Sometimes adventure's right around the corner.
And speaking of exploring, Roberta gives some really great advice about packing for a slow travel trip.
She does. I love how she focuses on packing for well-being, not just the, practical stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, you need your essentials, but she's all about bringing things that enhance your experience,
Right, right.
like
It's
elevate.
like what, but give me an example. What would you bring?
Okay, so for me, a good noise-canceling headset is a must.
Yes.
Perfect for finding those little moments
Oh.
of quiet,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whether I'm on a crowded train or in a bustling market.
Yeah.
And I always pack a little watercolor set, too.
Really?
Yeah, even a quick sketch,
Yeah.
It helps me capture the feeling of a place way more than a photo ever could, I think.
That's a really cool idea. It's like you're creating these little mementos that really capture the heart of your trip. So, as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into slow travel here,
Yeah.
it's clear that this is more than just a travel trend, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's like a whole new way of seeing the world.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
about being present, connecting with your surroundings, and embracing the journey as much as the destination.
I love that. It really challenges us to rethink what we want from our travels, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you realize that it's not about bringing back souvenirs.
Right.
It's about how travel changes you. That feeling of really inhabiting a place, even if it's just for a short while.
Yes, I love that. So, as you're planning your next adventure, think about what speaks to you. What kind of experience will leave you feeling inspired? What hidden gems are out there waiting to be discovered? And remember, slow travel is a journey, not a race. Find joy in those everyday moments, whether it's sipping a cup of locally roasted coffee or just chatting with a local shopkeeper, even if you can barely understand each other. Embrace those unexpected detours. Let your curiosity be your guide. Now, we want to hear from you. What excites you most about slow travel? Share your thoughts, your questions, your slow travel dreams with us on social media using hashtag the Deep Dive Slow Travel. Until next time, happy exploring.